Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me on our third episode. On the first two episodes, we interacted with the mothers and the fathers, asking about their perspective about parenting. So tonight, we'll be examining parenting from a more objective lens. And to help us give shape and meat to tonight's discussion, we are joined by my fellow rapid transformational therapists from Poland and Switzerland, and our dear teacher Kaycee, our family life and child development specialist from the Philippines. So, I'd like to bring in our first guest, as I mentioned, is teacher Kaycee. She is a family life and child development specialist and an early childhood educator as well. She is also a consultant, trainer, lecturer to teachers, parents, and pediatricians, a resource person for radio, TV programs, and various topics like positive parenting, positive discipline, love languages, multiple intelligences, and child development. She enjoys ukulele. I've seen her play that. I think Christmas was it, Teacher Kaycee, and dancing and self-confessed bookworm. She loves Lay's potato chips. Ooh, Kit Kat, Nestle Crunch. I hope they're sponsoring this show. What else? French fries, japchae. I don't know what japchae is, and coffee. So just like all of us, she adores Yun Bin and Park Bo Gum. I know Yun Bin, but not Park Bo. So help me welcome Kaycee Tandoc. She's joining us from the Philippines. And our second guest is an awesome humankind. Sorry, believes in the awesomeness of humankind. But we're all awesome, aren't we? So he's a father, student, teacher, and philanthropist. He believes in neuroplasticity and our evolving spirit. As a therapist, he believes that his role, together with his client, is to uncouple the emotional connection to trauma, which shapes the story we tell ourselves. So that's deep. That will take me a lot of time to really understand what he would like to say, but I think he'll be explaining more about that today. So help me welcome my fellow rapid transformational therapist, Mark Winkler, and he is joining us from Switzerland.
Hello.
Hello, Marcus. And our last guest, and definitely not the least, is a woman with an open and loving heart. Every day she learns how to live a better life through self-love. She believes that everyone is a miracle and a gift. Through her own experience and the tools she used, that's family constellation and rapid transformational therapy, she supports people to get rid of any kind of limiting beliefs that veil their true potential. So help me welcome my fellow rapid transformational therapist all the way from Poland, Nina Ambroziak. Awesome, so we're complete. Hi, Nina. Hi, Teacher Kaycee, and hi, Marcus. Thank you for joining us. So,
thank you for the invitation.
Definitely. So I want to go straight. I think I'll start with Teacher Kaycee and then Marcus and Nina. What is positive parenting to you?
All right. So, for me, positive parenting is one with respect, one with effective communication, and really there's the willingness to understand and listen, listening to your children. And I have to admit this early, Polly, that I grew up in an environment that, well, I can say this now, that did not implement in a way positive parenting.
Okay, good. And I liked how you mentioned the word willingness.
Yeah.
Because
So willingness. Yeah.
because that's very tricky for us adults, like how to submit into being just allowing it to be willing. Okay, thank you for that. How about Marcus? What's positive parenting to you?
To encourage, to implement that, to be as a family, no matter what the actual setting is, but to be as a family, to encourage and to encourage to explore, to encourage joy, but also to say, okay, express your feelings all the way, and feelings need to be expressed, and allow as parents also that the kids can feel, okay, I'm now being sad, and then explore with the kids, okay, encourage them to explore all the feelings,
Good.
which is the life should be about joy and gratitude. That's my encouragement on the positive side, to say,
Joy
okay,
and gratitude. And I love how you mentioned the word explore and express. Emotions should be expressed, and if they should explore, then go ahead and explore. Thank you, Marcus. So, what, Nina, what's positive parenting to you?
For me, positive parenting is mainly uh, about loving, and
Wow.
firstly loving ourselves, and then loving our children, because I think that that is the right direction, the right order. And once we are aware of that, loving our children is very easy, because once
Cool.
we love ourselves and we are accepting ourselves, then it is easy to accept other people, to accept our children, and to give them the freedom and to give them space and headroom for their internal development.
I
And
love that. I love how Nina answered the question right away and pretty much gives a summary of how the show will be shaped. Because I think like teacher Kaycee explained her side and Marcus as well. And Nina just becomes like the overarching explanation of things. Like teacher Kaycee mentioned the word willingness a while ago, and Nina said we need to love ourselves before we can even become parents technically, right?
Yeah.
But do you agree we are parents, right? The four of us have kids, and we are parents, guardians, caretakers of kids. Do you agree that kids sometimes just provoke that inner child in us for us to go ballistic? Teacher
yeah,
Casey,
yeah,
Teacher Casey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I don't agree, Polly, because
Okay.
I believe that, well, I believe that when kids behave in a certain way, there's
Mm-mm.
always a reason. Sometimes there's a
Mhm.
need to be heard, the
Mm.
need to be understood. And
Mm.
I appreciate what Marcus mentioned a while ago about exploring emotions and how to express emotions. And unfortunately, Polly, I think you are familiar with this scenario in the Philippines when kids are trying to express their emotions. In traditional families, they're not allowed. Parents would outrightly say, "Stop, just listen, or just go to your room." Argument
Yeah.
done. uh, Almost all of us grew up in that kind of environment.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah,
I,
that's
I,
my
I,
take.
lo- I loved how you brought the example in, because it's very familiar to us and even to all the viewers out there. So for all the viewers out there, if you have any questions, comments for teacher Casey, Marcus, and Nina, drop us that line, and we're gonna read it and ask them those questions and comments. And Nina, you were saying a while ago that yes, that resonated well, or probably something that you personally experienced about the kids, that the kids can provoke us as parents. The kids can provoke our inner child.
yeah. I have two things. Firstly, I totally agree with your Casey that the previous model of dealing with children was that we were not allowed, especially I think that girls were not allowed to express their emotions, especially anger and rage. And I think that is
Mm-hmm.
something uh, very difficult, and it is a kind of problem in the future, because it is for girls and for future women. It is a problem then with setting boundaries, because when you cannot show your anger, when you cannot rage, it is very difficult to set boundaries to protect yourself, because you need to behave well, you need to be polite, you need to smile.
Yes.
So
It's
those,
very familiar.
yeah,
Thank you, Nina, and thank you, Teacher Casey, for that. That's really true. You mentioned about parents just stopping their kids and saying that
Yeah,
go to your room. Enough of this conversation, or the worst, you cannot talk to me like that. Or how dare you answering me back now?
Yeah.
How about Marcus? Is it
Uh,
something you experienced growing up, or yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's something I experienced growing up. Yes,
Oh,
to
there, that's
say
universal.
how you can how dare are you to talk to me like that, and how dare you now go to your room, and yeah, I've
Mhm.
experienced this, but this is not the way how it should be, and because you mentioned Polly earlier, that our kids exploring things and say okay, exploring our boundaries. Sometimes our inner child is going like, now I shouted against you, like click. Now I shout at you. This is where our role as therapists come in. I say, okay, you need to heal your inner child, and self love is loving yourself is one of the things that you need to heal this connection or fill this void you have,
Mhm.
which you can fill
Yes, correct.
as the person. And
Exactly.
a child is only able to trigger us if we are
Mm,
not healed.
mm. That is
yeah,
true. And I think I remember that there are some things that can really trigger me, especially when it comes to food. That was me. That was me as a parent. So when I started having kids, I realized that I'm really triggered with kids not finishing their food on the table. When in fact they're already very full, because I came from that parenting style that I cannot leave the table if I have not eaten every single grain on my plate. So I was trying to impose that, and good lord, it just backfired heavily. And I think I like how Marcus and Nina, or sorry, was it? Yeah, Marcus and Nina have mentioned that this is common. This is not just in the Philippines. All parents go through this tunnel of autocratic parenting, like listen to me, or else you go to your room and let's stop this discussion. So, what do you think is a goal of positive parenting, Teacher Casey? What is the end goal of it, really? If we talk about positive parenting,
Shall I go first, Polly?
yes, please. Yes, please,
Well,
Teacher Casey.
I believe that with positive parenting, we have to, as parents, we have to first own our story. We have to
Mm,
own our story, but we have to, at a certain point, we have to stop making excuses. Like, for example, I can say, like, okay, I'm like this because, while I was growing up, I would hear labels or, labels or slash verbal abuse or, but then if you have identified it already, you have to put a stop. You have to own your story. And this one is very fresh. I have learned
go
this
ahead.
from my book, The Mama Huddle, that you have to also forgive yourself because we have been so hard on ourselves. So it's like a cycle, Polly. I believe that the goal of positive parenting is for someone to stand up in that generational thing and finally say, all right, we have to put a stop to this. I
Mm,
mentioned earlier, I grew up in an environment that did not exercise positive parenting
mm,
because, and I choose forgiveness. Why, Polly, and also Mark and Nina? Because they didn't know also. Whatever was embedded to them growing up. You see, I grew up in an extended family under the care of my maternal grandmother. So it's very
mm,
matriarchal, but they
mm,
were so traditional. Okay? So
mm,
somebody has to put a stop. When
mm.
we enter parenting, Polly, I get goosebumps whenever people introduce me as an expert because when it comes to parenting, I'm not. I am not. I may be a family life and child development specialist, but what is funny, Marcus and Nina, when I became a parent and I encountered things, that parents would encounter, I forgot about everything that I learned. My degree flew out of the window. So yes, yes, Polly. Yeah,
Oh, those are there. There you go. Your
yeah,
kids. Who saw
They're my
the
kids.
diploma flying out of the window?
Yeah, that's boy, my husband. He's an OFW. He's in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. These are my two
Okay,
kids, but this is an old picture, Polly. They're grown up already.
I'm sure.
My daughter is 21, my son is 16 already.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's very thorough, and I like how you mentioned the word. The child that we have in us. Technically, the child that we have in us that is being triggered by a specific thing that the child is also doing against us. And you mentioned about you have a diploma. People see you as an expert, but in the
Right.
actual setting, because you were triggered by a specific something goes out of the window, flies out of the window. I
That
want
comes
to
out of
know
the
though. Yeah, I want to know though if this is true to each and every one of you because I did the therapy course. I took the therapy course and I became a coach because I would like to really heal myself. I came from just like teacher Kaycee, positive parenting was not the thing to in the past, I guess. I think it's something new. So my parents and the household was not really into it. So Nina and Marcus and teacher Kaycee, I'm not sure what is your story, why you chose this profession. Is it something to do with an inner child too that you want to heal? Can I start with Nina?
Okay. Now I'm wondering why, but I think that at the beginning it wasn't about my inner child. I think that
Mm,
I became aware of that on later stage. Uh, Firstly, in fact, I um, there was some kind of problem in my personal life, and I was having some problems in relationship with my parents, and I
mm,
couldn't deal with that
mm,
uh, on my own. And I was also looking for some advice or support
mm,
because I was blaming them for several things and so on, but it was still very difficult, and it was a kind of burden which I need to carry. So uh, something happened in my life that I found family constellation program, and that was first one person who helped me to look at my parents in quite different way. That
mm,
I can connect with them, in fact, in my heart, and because I need to be connected with them, I cannot, just put them away or to be
mm,
disconnected, because that has negative influence, negative impact on myself. So she helped me to feel connection in my heart with them, although I couldn't deal with them, on day-to-day life. So that was really possible to feel
mm.
connected, to have open heart for them, and finally to accept them as they are. And there
Wow.
yeah, and there was no longer, my need to change them. And once I accept them,
Ooh,
and I take them into my heart as they are, as they are, the life also for me was more easy. And I think
right.
that was the first step. I was no longer, criticizing. I was no longer blaming them for anything. I just was able to accept them. But it it is a kind of way, of path you need to follow, because in many situations it is not so easy to just
Mm,
open your heart, because
mm,
uh, you can have different emotions and feelings about
mm,
your parents. For example,
mm,
when they uh, were when they hurt you when you were a child. So
mhm,
probably firstly you need to express and really feel those difficult emotions at the beginning, and then try to connect with them and try to accept them.
mm. No,
So
I liked how
I
you framed that, Nina. It's pretty much the same as how teacher Casey framed it before. That it becomes a vicious cycle that's being passed on from one generation to another. And the way teacher Kaycee mentioned it is, it has to stop. And that comes from a space of awareness that something has to stop.
Yeah, yeah,
Because if something is being passed on from generation to generation, specific behaviors, abusive behaviors, in fact, you can be a victim to that too. And you'll be very willing to act that part and play that part to eventually to your kids. How
yeah.
about Marcus? Was it the same for you in terms of, how you went through being a therapist? Is it because you're also looking for answers about your own personal childhood?
Not digging all only into my personal childhood, but I came back from a really technical background. I came from a really technical background, so I'm always in curiosity, and yeah, also in curiosity about life and everything how we evolve as people. But I want to go back now to teacher Kaycee. She said something when she became a parent that everything flew out, all her degree flew out the window, which is how we work, because our emotions are like always winning against logic. So we can
Yes.
logically know and have degrees on and on before we are healed, and before we love ourselves, as Nina was saying. Um, you can have all degrees, all sorts of degrees, and it doesn't matter, because as soon as the kid is triggering your inner child, which is hurt, you
Yes.
will hurt your
Yeah,
child, or you will go through the roof, because there is the saying, hurt people hurt people.
yeah.
So
Hurt people
it,
hurt people. Good.
hurt people. So if you are still having this wound and not healed in you, you can you will inflict others with your wound. So basically, you will bleed over others who didn't hurt you in the first place or didn't cut you in the first place.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Marcus. Is it the same with you, teacher Kaycee, about the path that you took? Like, why this path? Why being a specialist in family life? Is it because you also want to just stand up and say, okay, this has to stop?
Polly, now that you asked us, I began to reflect because I would always share this with my students. It was never my wish or ambition to become a teacher or a family life and child development specialist. My
Okay.
undergrad was psychology, so I wanted to work in a corporate setting, interviewing
Ooh.
applicants, administering tests. But Polly, now that you're saying it, I really believe that in my heart of hearts, I wanted to make a difference in the lives of many children because, looking back, the teacher that I wanted to have, or probably the upbringing or parenting type that I wanted to have, which I did not experience. I want the kids, my students, the children of the families I'm dealing with. I want them to experience it. So
Mm.
I guess Polly, and I believe that this is my mission. I truly believe this is my gift. It's a calling from God.
Yes, it is. And it's a mission. It doesn't sound like a job, does it?
Yeah, it's my mission.
It's really your mission. How about
It's
Nina?
my mission.
That's your mission. How about Nina? Do you feel the same mission out there when you meet your clients, interact with your clients? What is your mission as a family constellation therapist and rapid transformational therapist? What is your
Yeah.
mission that connects to that inner child?
Um, Firstly, I would like also uh, to point out that I'm not a perfect parent. Yes, that's not. I'm not a specialist in regard to my children, and I think that being a parent is really biggest development, internal development of everyone, because
Ooh, that's true.
yeah, children are the true mirrors of ourselves, and they are showing us all the time, or those things which we are not accepting inside of us, those feelings and emotions, and those wounds of our inner child. So all those things are being displayed on the mirrors, and I'm really very grateful to my children that they are learning me so much things about myself. And
Yes.
this is amazing journey to go with them and to just look at them, and then I have the opportunity to look into myself.
Mm. Hmm.
So uh, I'm not their master. In fact, they are mastering me, and that's why I can be a better parent for them.
True.
So
And I think I mentioned this to one client too. I told her that, this is a great time to listen to your kids, because kids are actually the best therapists
yeah,
ever. The
yeah,
moment you have kids
they
around.
cruel. They can be very
Yes.
cruel, but they will tell you, the exact truth about yourself. So
Yes.
Yeah.
once you feel offended or you feel angry with them, now I know that I cannot, shout. I cannot be angry with them. I need to, go to my room and ask myself, what is the situation telling me? What
And
is my
that's
pain? Why
right.
it is so painful for me? What
Right.
what they are touching in me that I'm so angry. I would like to rage. I would like to even use my power. So
Yes.
that's
True. Like the powers such as no cell phone for the weekend, or you need to go to bed at
how
8 p.m.
how
Those are
can you be like that?
that's the parental power. And I think this circled back to teacher Casey's statement, the very first part of the show, when you said that the specific or the ability of the adult to be willing. And this is what Nina was trying to tell us now. Like, I want to be willing to learn more about myself. A situation just happened, something got triggered in me. Instead of reacting to it, let me just step back, go to my corner, and
Yeah,
ask myself, why am I offended by this?
yeah,
Why am I offended by this 5-year-old, 2-year-old kid? You know? Because they can really get into your nerves. And that's a good way, I think, to look at it from a willingness standpoint, from a mindfulness standpoint, that you can. The moment you're triggered by your kids, as what Nina said, it's telling you something, and
yeah,
have that conversation with you about something. Good. So before I would like to read the comments, I just want to read some comments from our viewers now. Nancy is here. Matthew, of course. Anna Castro is here. Michelle is here as well. Michelle said, love that. Loving ourselves first, then giving from that overflow. Good. Filling your cup full and then give your love to your kids. So you really have to love yourself first. And then Nafi said, choose forgiveness always. Awesome.
Yeah.
And another one from Michelle, she said, our children are our best teachers on this journey of self discovery and healing.
yeah.
And
True.
Loretta Lynn said, I
Yes.
agree. My kid is like my best critic. And the moment that critic opens her mouth, be ready, brace yourself, because you really have to heal from that part. Okay, so awesome. And I just want to read as well some of the comments from my post in Facebook. I asked some of my friends to, you know, probably pitch in some thoughts or some practices that we think no longer applies, or perhaps could be done better in terms of interacting with our kids. Jess said that perhaps we can let go of anything. As a parent, we can let go of anything and everything that speaks to limitations and scarcity to our kids. Limitations and scarcity. Scarcity would be, we don't have money, we're poor. I think we need to stop that dialogue. I think we can reframe the language a bit. I'm not sure if you've heard that. Marcus, have you heard your parents saying that we cannot afford that? That's too much. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
How about Nina? If you'd like to pitch in, go ahead, Marcus. Tell us your story about that.
yeah.
Limitations and scarcity.
Definitely, we don't have time for that now. We don't have the money for that now. We don't have like the resources to go out there to let you attend to this event. This is what I heard. Yes, as a kid,
Did you
but
believe that though, as kid? Like, okay, we really don't have it.
I had to work on myself to get rid of this belief, even as a grown up, because I lived in this scarcity for quite some time, where I had to heal myself on that before I can go out there and say, okay, there is we don't live in this scarcity, even though you have like nothing and money wise, it would never be scarcity because you always have a way to go.
Right, right.
It's always, yes, you need a certain amount of money because we are living in a world where you need money,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always a point of view, how you see it, and
Mm-hmm.
and also how you talk with your kids about it.
Okay, great. Teacher Casey, how about in terms of like money scarcity, just like how Jess
Yeah.
put it? How should we explain this to the kids? Say, for example, they want something, like a very, very typical example. They want something, it's not the right time to buy it. How do we explain that to the kids?
Actually, Polly, I'm quite guilty of that.
Mhm. We
I
all
love
are.
how I love how Marcus put it. It's a matter of rephrasing or a choice of words, because
Mhm.
I also grew up that way, Polly. So there are times, and these are many times that I would say, maybe we can order that next time, or maybe you can still use that, that pair of rubber shoes last year. I think it's still okay. So yeah, I agree, Polly. We have to rephrase, or sort of, w- we have to use the right choice of words so that we
Mhm.
don't speak from scarcity or a perspective of lack.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. And he had that wonderful experience with our 7-year-old boy. He wanted something like PlayStation. Okay, PlayStation. But you know that PlayStation can be quite pricey. So we said, okay, so you like PlayStation? So would you like it for Christmas? I know that because we want to. I mean, we can buy it for him, but we know that it's a little bit rough to buy it now. So we extended our timeline a bit and said, okay, because for us PlayStation, I think Santa Claus will be very generous to give that to you. And he said, yeah, I think I can wait for 6 months and wait for PlayStation. So that's just an example, but I'm sure parents out there are very creative in how you want to frame that. But I think what Marcus was saying a while ago is, as much as possible, refrain from saying we don't have money, we
Yeah.
are poor, that's not available for us, that's only for the rich. Then they will grow up thinking that money's not available for them. They will not respect money. They will not have savings. They will just spend everything that they have and just wander around. So I think that's the point that Marcus would like to drive us to. Yes, Marcus, you want to say something?
Even at some point, you will go out there and like start self sabotaging you or your business, as you have when you run a business. When you live in this scarcity, and some clients say, okay, I'll have a project, and you will like go stop. No, this is not my money, or you will give them
Yes.
more discount on something which is not good for you. So you will even go further
Right.
before that, when you
Because you
say,
believe
okay,
that money's not for
money
you.
is not available to me,
Yeah.
money is not for me.
So therefore, let me just give this service for free to everyone, and then you just end up depleted. So that's one classic example that I get to see around too. So another comment here from Chini. She said, I hope this stops as well. Technically, that's a pretext. Using terms like flower or cookie for penis and vagina. Instead of saying penis and vagina, parents can be creative, very creative, in fact, that we say it's a flower, it's a cookie, and whatever word you use. I'm not sure, Nina, do you have this type of practice back home where you don't really use the word penis or vagina, but flowers and cookies?
Yeah, that's also the typical things. I think also in Poland that we are a little bit ashamed to name those things as
Ah.
they are named in real. So I think that's mainly the problem of adults, because for children, when when they hear that it is penis and this is vagina, for them they can accept that. But I think that for
Yes.
us, we are ashamed to name it in correct way. So still, it is our problem to behave like that, and that is also something which we would need to look at. Why
Right.
am I so ashamed, and why it is so difficult for me? And
Yes.
for
So
example,
this is
when I
this
was
is really.
talking to
Uh-huh.
my children about sex and all
Mhm.
the things, I was very open with them, and uh, my my eldest daughter once told me, "Mom, I think that you are probably too open, because I knew everything, earlier than my kids at school." But finally, I think that that's the final is positive, because now they are very tolerant, and they have a lot of respect to all sexualities, and we can talk
Mhm.
about that at home,
Mhm.
and for them it is very natural, and
Mhm.
they respect
Mhm.
every any kind of sexuality, and for them
Right.
it is very easy and natural to talk about that.
Good.
So it is still our approach and our
Right.
beliefs or shame which is inside of us. Yeah.
Right. So this has another layer of probably like another layer within the practice of openly discussing sex to kids. Because in Europe, I know it's integrated to schools. Like the curriculum, it's something that they discuss, and it's really designed that way that they can openly discuss it. Teacher Kaycee, is this something that parents reach out to you for in terms of how do I discuss this to the kids?
Yes, actually, a lot of parents, especially in early childhood, they would
Mhm.
ask that question. So our answer would always be, we have to look at the ages of the kids, Polly, because sometimes a lot of parents would like to go the scientific way, the
Oh,
technical way, and then they just go on and on and on, and so the child is listening, and you see the expression of the face. But mom, my question was just, so you have to listen and be objective, because you might be giving a lecture already in a scientific manner, but that's not actually the question of the child.
what are the common
I,
questions that children ask about it?
can I just give an example, Polly?
Yes,
Um,
please, please.
one of my colleagues shared with us this story. A dad really got curious because his I think I'm not sure if a 7-year-old or 8-year-old son asked them, um, what is dad or mom, what is sex? And then the dad said, if I remember the story right, what what are you saying, where did you hear that? And he went ballistic. And then the son
Oh.
and then investigated, and then the son said, I don't know, dad, I'm just trying to fill up this form.
Oh.
It was A form was given
Oh
in
my
school.
gosh.
So that's what I'm saying, Polly. Well, okay, first of all, forms should be processed. When you give something to the kids, always process with them what to do, how to answer, what are the things or the items. So I always remember that story shared by a colleague. My colleague was a mom, okay? So the
Mm.
dad went, but where did you learn that word? Is the school teaching you that word? And he said, I think the son was already crying. Dad, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to fill up the form. And it says here, you know,
Oh,
sex, and then you're supposed to circle a female
right,
or male. So see,
right.
we are always advanced. I mean, the parents, when we are when we're because we're so sensitive with that topic. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the dad was already advanced. That was not even the question of the
Mm-hmm.
son.
Yeah. She was just asking how to fill out a form. As simple
Yes,
as
and
that.
Polly, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Polly, I would like to say something about what Nina mentioned earlier. I agree with her. In early childhood, when we have the theme my body or taking care of my body, we teach the young kids the parts of the body and we name them properly. Like you have the eyes, the nose, the mouth. Then why
Mm.
would we call the vagina flower or the penis uh, cookie or in our culture bird?
Birdie.
What will we have? We will have confused children because when we have the theme flowers and plants, the girl will say, "Oh, but I thought flower was
Yes.
yeah." So we have to be first of all, we have to look at the ages, and we have to use developmentally appropriate terms. Although it's
Mm.
scientific, but it has to be developmentally appropriate, meaning age
Mm.
appropriate. Yeah.
Mm. Age appropriate terms. So I think we can skip the flowers and the birdie and the cookie. And I think too, like kids will ask questions depending on their level of readiness too. I think a 2-year-old kid will not be wondering, "Mom, where I'm from." I think that happens at a more advanced age where they can really explore. They know their body parts and they will start wondering what it is. Um, I'm not sure for Marcus and Nina if you had any clients that you've dealt with that has problems with expressing or exploring or enjoying sex really because it stemmed from a trauma or from a very restrictive family. I'm not sure if you've encountered that. And if you have, please do share that story.
No, I didn't have.
Not yet. Okay, how about Marcus?
No.
Because I'm trying to help a client too that he's a virgin for like the longest time and is already nearing 50s. And his challenge really was more on, I don't really get aroused. And when we did the regression, it really pointed back to specific scenes when they were young. It happened when he was watching a movie, and then the movie was extremely intimate, not child appropriate. That he was just asked to step out. So he stepped out of the room, and then his emotion there was, "I'm confused." So it's a taboo to watch this, and it triggered, and it just became like an adult problem. So how your childhood will be shaped by these emotions, by how your parents explain things, can really, really affect how you view life as an adult. And that's just like one classic example. Another comment from our viewer here is from Tara. She said, asking children to subscribe to gender binary, dresses for girls, short hair for boys, etc. I think kids should be able to freely express who they are fashion wise. We often dismiss children's capacity to learn about themselves. I love that. They're much more perceptive and wiser than we can imagine. Allowing them this little thing will help them flourish and get to know themselves better. They get a grasp of who they are as a person very early on. So as adults, they are not shambling in the dark, because we adults shamble in the dark because our childhood was not as perfect as how it should be, like, ideally. So as teacher Kaycee, like in your in your profession, what are the common challenges of parents really in with positive parenting or implementing positive parenting even?
I think the common challenges, Polly, would be the parenting that they experience. It's really
Mm,
the kind of parenting that they experience because I know a lot of people, including myself, we say, sometimes we say, all right, when I'm a parent already, I'm only going to copy or do the good things, and then I will make sure that the negative things I experience, I will not be doing. But you see, Polly,
mm,
history repeats itself. When we are not conscious, when we are not really intentional,
mm,
we do it, and in fact, we catch ourselves many times, and we get
mm,
surprised. Oh, I just said that I'm not going to be like for example, like my dad or my mom, but I'm
mm,
beginning to see myself. I'm repeating history. So I agree with Marcus. He mentioned a while ago about wounds, healing the wounds first. And I
mm,
also agree when Nina mentioned about you have to love yourself first before you can give this love, because we can never pour from an empty vessel.
mm,
We,
mhm,
we can never pour from an empty cup.
mhm,
So we have
mhm,
to forgive ourselves first, love
mhm,
ourselves. Then from the overflow, love
mm,
our family members. But it has to be a decision. It has to be intentional. When we're not intentional, we are repeating the pattern, the
mm,
cycle.
mhm. And we are repeating this cycle, then we are just technically acting like our parents who we want to correct to begin with because we're not taking mindful steps, intentional steps of just putting a stop to it. So,
Exactly.
in your respective regions, Marcus and Nina, I know you have different parenting practice styles that you wish that should never happen again to other kids. Probably you can just give us one. I'll start with Marcus. What is it parenting style, parenting that you see that at least should stop?
I, I to my I would say that okay, punishment in sorts of okay, stop, you don't speak out anymore, which is even though sometimes hard to okay let them express freely because as we are not healed inside, but it's also a process of letting our kids just speak out and say okay, helps us also heal
Mm,
because
mm,
they were what's important from my perspective, and I'm by far not the perfect parent, is to just let them explore, and you should be there just in the awareness and say okay, um, what is triggering me. And Nina said this okay, step back, think about it a moment, even in the situation, okay, just step back and what is triggering me. And
mm,
then uh
mm,
what I see and I experienced with my kids, the more open I speak with them, what was triggering me now about the event, why
mm,
I also like felt this like
mm,
uh this emotion at the moment, the more they learned, and the more I opened up, the more they opened up, and which
mm,
helped both of us to for them to understand. Okay, if I do this, I can trigger if people when they have this and that experience from their
mm.
past, which
So
helps
I
them.
love the openness factor that you're practicing with the kids. This ties back to what teacher Casey before. Be willing to be open. If I'll be
Yes,
connecting those two words with Marcus, that's
Yeah.
lovely. So by opening up, your kids can also open up the same to you about and be honest about their emotions, and that
yes,
and you're practically healed just by doing that. Awesome.
and
How about Nina?
explore everything together, explore the
Mhm,
feeling together.
Explore the
Also on a child appropriated level, as you can, as teacher Kaycee said before, you can shoot through the roof by just explaining, okay, with the funny example you had, just filling in the form, but
right.
you can shoot through the roof or just step back and say, okay, why are you asking this question right now?
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
right. That's beautiful. How about Nina? Do you have any regional or practices back home in Poland that you wish should stop at least now that you're more aware?
I think that we have a lot, but I would like to point out one which is, I think, that very familiar to Polish women. We have a kind of example of Polish mother. Uh, this is a kind of mother who is sacrificing herself for children,
Oh,
and it is a kind of example which in the past was, this is a Polish mother. She is neglecting her needs, she is neglecting herself, she's not doing something for her development, because she she treats kids higher than she is. And I think that this role is also very burdening our children, because eventually uh, it will appear some kind of frustration, some kind of pain or depression on mother's side, and somebody will be to blame, and there will be kids, and those words, I sacrificed so much for you, I did those and those,
oh,
and now you do not appreciate that. How could you? I did all,
oh,
and I think this is very heavy, and
right,
we cannot do that for our children, because
right,
they they cannot take responsibility for our decisions. if
right.
if I really want to do something for a kid, because I know that it is very important, and in this situation, for example, I need to withdraw from, I don't know, my career and anything else. I need to be aware of that this is my decision, and
Mm,
I'm fine with doing that, and
mm-hmm,
I'm sacrificing myself,
mm-hmm.
because it will lead to really difficult situation in the future,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
that's
Yeah,
that
that's
that
true. I like
that's
I like
the
how
most.
you put that, Nina. I thought that that's only happening in the Philippines, Casey. But it
Yeah.
seems like even in Europe too, that's also happening to mothers. Mothers trying to, sacrificing themselves to
Yes.
give something for the kids because that's what everyone is doing. But guess what? Because of that mechanism, because of that mindset, you end up being frustrated as a mother. And when they
Yeah.
all grow up, you throw it back to them and say, hey, I didn't do XYZ because I sacrificed for you. That is so Philippines as well.
Yes. And also,
Teacher
Polly,
Casey, how about in the Philippines? What is that one thing you want to get rid of as much as possible? Like something that we can put in the
yeah,
past, move forward.
yes. Um, I have always believed that no two people are alike, or even no two siblings are alike. You know
Mm.
very well, Paul, that in the Philippines, we have this practice. Well, most of the families. Oh, we are a family of teachers. Oh, we are a family of doctors, physicians. So you have to become one. And until now, I see that practice. And when we see
Oh.
children failing, or not really enjoying their academics, or having, like failing grades, we reprimand them because we expect them to be, or not just that, Polly. Sometimes a parent would say, I wanted to become an engineer, but it didn't push through. So you will become an engineer.
Mhm.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
we have to put a stop to that. I think really, Polly, that as parents we have to nurture and support our kids according to their gifts, their own gifts, their
Mm.
gifts,
Mhm.
their dominant intelligence under the
Mm.
realm of multiple intelligences. Our
Right.
children are not our extension.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
Our
that
children is not our extension. Well,
They're
so where is
not.
this coming? Where is this desire coming from to make our kids the extension? You think? Like
our
it
unmet
seems
need.
like a universal desire to make the kids an a mini me of me, a replica of me, my junior or what have you. Where is this desire all coming from? I'll start with Marcus, perhaps. With Marcus.
Also probably from pressure we had or our parents didn't do because of this. Okay, I sacrificed this and that for you because I have you right now as a kid. So
Mhm.
you need to learn this instrument. You need to be a doctor. You need to be an engineer, whatever.
Right.
Um, this is the desire to shape or to
Mm.
influence
The
in
desire to shape or influence. Okay.
which is the opposite of what it should be to explore, to help them explore their life, because we are all individuals.
Mhm.
And as teacher Casey said, nobody is like one of us, like we
Right.
are. We are all unique.
Yes, all
Yeah,
siblings are not the same.
yeah,
All siblings are different, and you're right about that, teacher Casey. I think we all went through that too, one way or another, being compared to others, probably our siblings, our cousins, the comparisons. So I think the overarching statement here is really this by Jess when he said anything which speaks to limitations and scarcity should at least something that we can move forward and not really gravitate towards that, not to limit our kids, not shaping our kids the way we want them to be shaped, not telling our kids that we don't have this, we don't have that, because we're talking about ourselves. We're not talking about them the moment they'll grow up as adults and be independent as who we want them to be. So, any final words to parents? And when I say to parents, I'd probably say this to your own self as a parent. If you have the chance to parent yourself, let's say let's throw a number, age 5. If you are the 5 when you're the parent of that 5-year-old Kaycee, Marcus, Nina, what could have been done differently? Like briefly, Nina, how will
Um,
you parent yourself?
I think that I would price myself more. I would play with myself, and I will allow myself to be a child, not
Mm.
allow express all emotions without judging, without
Mm-hmm.
keeping silent and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about those emotions. And the other, I think, also important things is not expecting children to grow up so quickly, because we
Mm.
want, as parents, we
Mm-hmm.
want children to be independent very quickly, and we are also stressing out that it is great that you are doing that by your own. You are so small, but you are doing that um, even individually. But in fact, we are taking them, their childhood, because
Right.
once they are doing all those things by themselves, they do not have so much, carefree play, and they
Wow.
cannot, be so joyful and be children and
Love that.
express their joy and all those beautiful feelings which
Mhm.
we experience when you're a child. And
Right.
I
So
think
play
that
more.
I would
Play.
give
What's your message?
more childhood to myself.
Okay, play more. How about teacher Casey? If that was you, if you will be the parent to your 5-year-old self.
yeah, if I would parent the little Kaycee, I would be listening more. I would
Listen.
encourage her to express more, and I would encourage the little Kaycee to be assertive. That it's okay to be assertive, and I would celebrate her uniqueness.
That's a lot to take in. A lot of things to accomplish for that parent, Casey, which I think resonates to a lot of our viewers. Some are saying, Marikar was saying and agreeing to Nina a while ago, play is the thing. And Anna said, I love it, teacher Casey. Children are not our extension. Ooh la la. I think this would be like a banner for all parents out there. Children is not our extension. How about Marcus? What type of parent will you be like if you were to parent yourself?
I would encourage to explore. I would encourage to just love, think, dance, create, and also encourage. Okay, no matter what you're actually doing, you will always belong to us as family. Which is also some sort of punishment. Okay, if you do this, you will not belong anymore to our family. You will, whatever it's called, how as a punishment. But just to explore and to be open about this is one way I would parent myself, probably, to say, okay, explore on your own terms.
So it's really exploring. I heard playing, which is
Playing,
great.
dancing,
Create,
creating.
and just be the kid that they are, right? And
Yes.
this is one thing too that I learned personally. Because I have like 2 13 years old and I have like a 7-year-old boy. Whenever they do something that I feel that they should not be doing, I always go back to myself and say, if when I was 7 years old, is this what I really wanted to do? Do I just want to play the entire day? Yes!
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I will do. And then, try to understand from that dialogue and really, really travel to your back to your childhood. When you were young, when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, what do you like to do then? You don't like to go to church. You don't like, all of these things. Like, Mom, I don't want to go to church and you just want to stay at home and meet my friends. This is something that you can openly discuss with your kids because as what we heard from teacher Casey, from Marcus and Nina, kids is definitely there to teach us something. And to put something out there, teacher Casey mentioned that kids are not an extension to us. Like they're not our mini me. They're not the mini me's of Casey, Marcus, and Nina. They are independent as they are. And Marikar said, yes, the family is the first tribe of the child. Thank you, Marcus, for saying that. Because when kids feel punished, then they will feel like, okay, I'm punished, I'm isolated. How can I survive now? I'm alone in the dark. I need the adults.
We
Yes,
all search for this connection, and if we're punished on connecting, then we lose our connection with ourselves.
Definitely. I love that. So thank you, Marika, for that. And Christine said, yes, we should celebrate uniqueness. I think this is all what it is, really. We are celebrating uniqueness. As a parent, we need to be willing to celebrate our kids' uniqueness. They are not the same as any other kids out there. They are unique. So for the viewers out there who want to get in touch with you, I'll start with Nina. How can they reach you?
On my Facebook fan page, you will find information how to contact me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Nina. Teacher Casey, for talks, how can they reach out?
They can go to my Facebook page. It's Teacher Kaycee, Kaycee.
Okay, Teacher Casey. How about Marcus for therapy services? How can they reach out to you?
Also, the best way is on my Facebook page and probably through my website, which is genius.consulting. It's the website.
Okay.
Just my name in Facebook, Markus Winkler,
Mhm.
and then you will find me.
Good. Do you have any upcoming events that you wish to share to everyone watching? Nina, Marcus, Kaycee?
Yeah, on Feb 20, I am one of the speakers or sharers. It's uh it's on it's on February 20. It's called Married by Faith. I will be sharing about love languages.
Love languages. It's
Yes,
interesting. How
I
about
share
Nina?
the
Do you have any?
language.
You're right. How about Nina? Do you have any upcoming events?
No, not now at this future, coming
Mhm.
future. I'm planning something, but not with concrete dates.
Okay. And Marcus?
I'll schedule events for business owners or business creators. Beginning of March, I will have a 3-day workshop scheduled
Oh,
uh, to get heal yourself, engage healing on the way to go out there and actually help people. When you have this calling in your mind, or when you have this feeling, okay, you go out there and help people, and also create abundance for yourself, which is important because you need this overflow. You need this overflow to help others, but to have this overflow, you need to be full yourself.
yes. And that's what we really want all parents to do as well. Keep your cup full, please, especially that you're confined with your kids because of this pandemic. Please always keep your cup full. And for any one-on-one coaching services, you can still reach out to me. I'm still opening slots for that for the upcoming months. And for any therapy services, you can reach out to me, Nina, Marcus. And for talks, or if you want to know more about what Teacher Kaycee does, probably you want some nuggets of wisdom from her, you can always reach out to her through Facebook. So thank you, Teacher Kaycee, Marcus, and Nina. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Polly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So there you have it once again. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And if you still want to watch this, you can definitely go to YouTube to watch the replay, or just go to the podcast as well, as this will be recorded there. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and you all have a wonderful night.